All right, Sobo is here. This is a Gray Matter podcast. This is the first in the history of the site. We've got Mark Sobolewski here, Ryan Hoyt, who just watched the NFL draft. How you doing, Ryan?
Good, I'm doing great.
Great. Sobo, read your name in the paper today. Something happened last night.
Yeah, well, we had an offensive explosion as a team. It was good. Obviously, a lot of guys were excited for that, and definitely it was sort of a long time coming, even though it's still April.
Yeah, man. We were at the office following the game, and Glenn, 3-run bomb. You had a 3-run bomb, and then another 3-run bomb. I don't know. I don't want to go too cliche on you, but beach ball coming into the strike zone, or what was the deal with you guys beat 16-3 against Binghamton, much needed breakout game. I guess the kind of night everyone deserves once in a while, huh?
Sure. It was a little bit of a different night. We got to sit back 30 minutes. They expected rain. It was cold. Didn't really know if we were going to play. And then, the game starts and we get off to a great start. Everybody just swung the bat well. Didn't really look like a beach ball, but I did feel like I swung at some good pitches, laid off some bad ones, and obviously other guys had great nights too. So it was a great team offensive performance.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys get a chance to check out the NFL draft, kind of coming in and out, seeing what was going on with that? Or?
Yeah, everybody was interested in it, but obviously we were playing. So after the game, we all sort of got on our iPads or iPhones, whatever, Blackberries, and we were checking out who went where. We got a lot of football fans here. So.
Checking out the guys that have good closing speed, good foot speed. And we had a new one last night, good seeability, Mel Kiper Jr. It was a player that had good seeability. And you got to get the ball to the player in space. Ryan Hoyt, if you're a good receiver, get him the ball in space.
You can't catch the ball if it's not thrown to you.
All right.
So you got to get open.
If you're on TV, don't ever say throw it to him while he's wide open. You have to say throw it to him while he's in space.
That's it.
Okay. What else you got for me on the NFL draft?
NFL draft? I don't know. I'd like to know this guy here. What's your favorite team?
Who's your team?
I growing up in Florida, I'll pull for the Bucks. I'll pull for the Dolphins. I don't really have a team. Growing up in Florida, I like the Ravens, but what I tend to do is follow the Miami players. We have the most in the NFL year in and year out. So what I like to do is follow those guys, see how they do.
It's all about the U.
Absolutely.
It's all about
the U. We love the U. What do you think of the ESPN, the U thing?
Well, I liked it. I thought it was a good sort of a little history lesson on their program. It was cool to see all those old clips and old players. Going to school there, you're definitely exposed to that. So I thought they did a good job with the documentary.
They definitely changed the whole style of the game and kind of the whole culture with just kind of the bad boy image almost. They kind of brought that into college football.
Mm-hmm.
That really wasn't around.
Yeah. I like watching the Canes. I love them growing up, watching them.
They need to get back to their winning ways. It's been a few years, but I think their new coach, Al Golden's doing a really good job to follow that closely, and I think it'll be good to go to those games in the off-season again once they start cranking out some more wins.
Mark Sobolewski is our guest on the podcast today. Played at the U, played baseball at the U. What was that experience like? And man, what's that like playing for a program with so much tradition and honor?
Well, that was my dream school. I always wanted to go there. In Sarasota, most people are Florida Gator or Florida State Seminole fans. I sort of went against the grain that way, but tons of great players, a lot of trips to Omaha and stuff like that, and our team had a lot of great players, so being around those guys was good, and we still stay in touch, and I go down and visit, quite a bit in the off season. So it was a great experience, and I wouldn't have gone anywhere else.
Mhm. Wow. How are we doing on the volume and stuff? Still going?
Yep, looks like we're going. Still going pretty well.
Okay. Podcast continues here. Fishcats Clubhouse, big win last night. You guys have a new homestand now, 7 games. Tough one. Trenton coming in, and then Reading. Reading has the best record in the Eastern League right now. What's it going to take to get this team back to the top of the standings again?
We need to bring the same type of performances night in and night out. We've shown flashes of brilliance, and we've sort of had games where we just weren't even in it from the start. So we need to just play consistently in every phase of the game. The pitchers have to do their job. Our defense needs to be consistent, and we need to swing the bat. So it's going to take us playing well in every aspect of the game every night.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into the little stretch you got here at home, looks like we're going to have some cold weather. What's the impact? Does that have any impact at the plate? Or I know.
Well,
I was telling guys, because being here last year, we sort of got spoiled to start off the year this year. The weather was awesome, and it was not that way last year. I remember that. You just have to deal with it, and it's not uncommon. There's a lot of big league teams in northern cities that start out the year cold, so you just have to go play, and it'll be that much better once it does warm up. So we'll be ready.
Got to play through.
Sobo is our guest on the program. 2 3-run home runs last night, 6 RBIs. Development-wise, you've been hammering the interviews this year. Do you guys have media training? I know the Red Sox have a rookie development camp. Guys come in, Peter Gamis talks to them. What kind of things do you guys learn about dealing with the press?
Well, I know we've always had one day in camp where somebody comes in and talks to us about how to handle media. It's just one day, so I think guys maybe get more comfortable as they mature and have more experience. I think it's the type of thing you just need to go through yourself. But I don't think they spend too much time on it. Maybe when you get up in Toronto and you're a young guy, maybe they really hammer that at you. But they don't stress it too much for us. You know,
I go back to 2004 and Dustin McGowan was pitching for the Fisher Cats. That was the first year they were here. Played up the street at Gill Stadium, an old 100-year-old park. And McGowan got hammered one night, like 10 runs. You know, it was first year, and I covered, big leagues or whatever. But I didn't really need to talk to him, but Mike Bass, the manager, said, "You got to go talk to Dusty. Talk to Dusty." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, when he gets up to the big leagues, he's going to have 10 people at his locker waiting for him when he gets hammered." Right. So it was like, oh, I'm kind of figuring into this development here. Yeah. And then Ricky Romero this year had put together some great commercials for Nike and congratulated on him. And I said, "Hey, glad I showed you how it was done back in the day." And he actually said, no, he really appreciated the honesty and that goes along with it. So I guess, like you say, every step is learning along the way.
Sure. You can practice things or be told certain things privately, but until you go out and experience it for yourself, you don't really know how you'll handle it. So, that's a story. I'm sure that's not unique just to McGowan and Basso. But
Hutch told me before he left, he said he was told never ever trust the media. Ryan, how come?
Never trust the media? Well, the media gets a bad rap, man. They're hammering people with questions because they want to know. They want to know the answers, and sometimes
true?
The players don't want to give them to them.
I think you always need to always be respectful, and you need to say what's on your mind, but understand that everything you say has consequences, which is fine as long as you're being portrayed accurately and words aren't being put in your mouth and they're not saying things out of context. But that's with people in your private life too. So that's. I mean, you can't. I don't think you can be paranoid about it.
One thing that amazes me, like Tom Brady is great at this. Question comes, and he knows whichever way the answer goes, it could be spun a different way, and he has to diplomatically keep everybody happy, and that's pretty hard to do when you're on the spot. But I guess, like you said, if you're honest and have a personality, you're going to have more fans, you get more deals. Nike will be calling you. So I guess you got to figure it out for just being yourself.
Yeah, right. And if you do put something out there besides the status quo, then you got to understand. You have to take whatever comes with that, and that's fine. You just have to be responsible, and I mean that's about it.
Mm-hmm. If you look at the people that aren't portrayed well by the media, or like look at a guy like Ron Artest, I mean he's kind of done that to himself, with his on and off the court and on the field. Same thing for baseball, any sport. Your actions kind of determine. Same thing with real life. I mean, this is real life, but out in the real world, your actions kind of determine how people portray you.
And there's great people in the media, great athletes. There's not so great people athletically. There's not so great people in the media. It's just we're all human, so everybody's a little different.
All right, wrapping up the podcast with Sobo. You got any questions for us? Because we're sitting here firing questions at you.
Oh, man, I've got nothing.
All right, you're representing the U. Thanks, Mark. You're going to have to hit a couple more bombs tonight to keep it going.
I'll do my best.
All right, later.
All right.